The Sooshi Mango Podcast, turbocharged by Cavallo Prestige.
Hello.
Hello, hello.
Testy 1, 2.
Put on a jacket. When I was your age, I was my age. The Sooshi Mango Podcast. We're like one big family.
That's why we say join the familia.
The most ethnic podcast going around.
Isn't it beautiful when someone can whistle like that? Our dad used to whistle really
I got a
nicely.
beautiful whistle.
You don't.
I got a,
Well, it's not the best.
it's the beautiful. I've got a very
Go
melodic
whistle.
You can't. No, you know when you have to
Do you
whistle
remember that time we used to try and whistle?
together.
The,
The
laugh.
Aussie one where they do with but no,
Oh, no.
I can't do it.
we wanted to go.
What about dit? Let's try that. Watch
Okay,
it. We'll
let's
try. And
see
when you
laugh.
hit, yeah.
No, I can't.
One, two.
Oh, that's that. You both sucked on that. That's
No,
hard.
but it's like when you get a whistle. Mate, when whistles unite, it's hilarious.
Do you whistle inward too, or just outward?
Outwards.
Yeah.
I can whistle both.
Both.
So, ladies and gentlemen, we have an old friend. By the way,
Wait a minute.
we have an old friend, very, very good friend of ours. Absolute legend in the.
Now, this guy is just whistling on his
That's
own
my
accord.
entrance
This
music.
guy.
That's my
Yeah,
intro.
nothing.
I was doing
my
entrance
intro
music.
Hey,
I was
can
doing
you do the
entrance
Rocky
music,
theme, but?
By the way, that's Japanese war music. I think it is. Anyway, I've never been interrupted mid intro here. Old friend of ours, very good friend of ours, very well known in the fight industry, in the fight game, all over the world. Used to bash heaps of people.
In the nightclub scene.
Let's just be clear. This is like ring fighting, not domestic fighting.
a
I'm good
nightclub.
at
Yeah, that too. Come
I don't know
on.
about that. Some of those stories.
Nightclub scene as well.
Not in the nightclub scene,
yeah.
and a commentator, very
Yeah.
famous commentator,
Gym owner,
gym owner.
very famous gym
As you
owner.
can tell, he's a walking billboard today. Hammer's Gym, 24/7 fitness.
Mention for discount.
Ladies and gentlemen, Mark. Say now,
Castagnini's.
yeah,
Don't say Castagnini. You're making me Greek, bro.
No.
Everyone goes, "Oh, you're Greek." No,
It's
Castagnini.
It's,
Castagnini.
no,
There's no silent G.
it's
really.
Castanopoulos.
Castagnini.
Mark Castagnini.
Everyone calls you Castagnini's.
Yeah,
They
everyone
fuck-
calls
they
me
stuff it
Castagn-
up,
they
right?
mix it up, man. That's
It
what
is-
you just call him Mark Hammer now. It's easy.
Yeah,
Hammer.
Mark Hammer's easy.
Mate,
And you know what? My name is actually Marco. But when
Yeah.
I was going to school, I got bashed for being Marco because it was a WOG name. So I would just go, Mark. It's like, yes, I look like an Aussie. I get away with it.
Marco the Matedo
That's it.
Marco Martello.
Castagnini.
Marco Martello.
Marco Martello.
That's it.
And I said Matedo is a Sicilian way of saying
Sicilian.
it too. Yeah, man, welcome, man.
Thank you.
And,
Thank you. This is very surreal for me because obviously, you know, I've been so fortunate to see your progression too. And from our early days, pre-COVID and
mate,
all
you've been a massive supporter of ours for a very, very long time, and it's only right for you know, we always say we always give flowers to people who support us when we were nothing, and you know, mate, you've been there from the start. So thank you so much for all your support. Thank you for the COVID days.
Yeah,
we used to
we
go
went through that crazy time.
we didn't go anywhere.
I went everywhere. And you know how I did it? You know how I did it? Just a little, you know, everyone was, COVID, this, that. I'm like, there's got to be a way. Everything's got a way.
Yeah.
So I made face masks with the Hammer's Gym logo on it. I swear to God. And I'm driving everywhere from the front seat. You get stopped, face mask, delivering, got to go. Oh. So that was, and I was like, you know.
Oh, did you get? Was there a lot of?
Oh, that was
because mate, I didn't really go that.
We
many
went.
places.
We went around because we had
an exemption.
We had a
recording
media-
exemption,
Yeah.
media
Yeah, well, that was
exemption.
yeah.
But the times where I popped into your gym
Yeah.
at 11
To get a
o'clock
face
on a
mask,
Thursday,
yeah,
I had to
that's
go and
right.
get a face mask.
I've always gone from a kid, you know, there's rules and there's rules. And it's like, if me going over there, how much damage really going to do? You know, like I justify things. I'm like, I get it. You know, look at kids now, if we go down that road, they have different thought processes to what we had, you know, and that's evident now in, you know, with everything that's happening in Victoria and elsewhere. And I was always sort of going between that because I grew up in Northcote Tech. Was a rough school, you know, and you sort of had to be a survivor.
Anything with tech in it was rough.
That's it. Woodwork.
Why is that?
Why is it any school?
Anything with tech in it.
Northcote Tech.
Why anything with tech? Like
Heidelberg Tech.
Yeah. Cooking. It was the opposite to, you go textiles and, you know, needlework, and then you're doing woodwork and metalwork. It's like, I can sew something up and I can bash you with this piece of wood and make you something out of sheet metal. I can do whatever I want here. Yeah. So it taught you variety in life, but looking at the rule set, and you know, we spoke often, obviously, during COVID, and you know, trying to stay fit and keep your mental health in good check through training. As Andrew says, do something. Everyone was trying to do something, and that was a challenging time. And I've gone. There's a lot of damage being done, you know, with something that is not really understood. And it was the paradox of we're doing this, but other parts of the world and other states are doing something totally different, and you know, wasn't that bad. Yeah. So I always justify things. I go, so the reality is, okay, if it's dangerous, yes, you got to be careful. But then if I'm looking over there and you go to Queensland or Perth, well, it's like, well, how can that be such a double standard? You know,
well,
how can it be so?
There's all that stuff that was saying that we were used as a case study.
But I've got to say this, if I can just say this. I want to thank you guys, first of all, for just allowing me to be here. And you know, you guys are just achieving such good things for a Melbourne bunch of blokes that, you know, you're very relatable. And I speak often about the nostalgia and the happiness that you bring through what you do. So, you know, I've got to say that it's surreal for me to be here, and I appreciate, you know, you guys having me, and I'm so proud of everything you guys have achieved.
Thanks for the lovely words, but it's going to cost you $5,000.
I was going to say, we'll be paying you $5,000.
Yeah, that's right.
We'll pay you $5,000.
Imagine going to Camo and going, listen, man, you owe me $5,000, and in the end you're like, yeah, man, take $5,000.
It's a 5.5.
Yeah.
Well, it's not going to cost you $5,000. It's going to cost you a lifetime membership for all our families for the rest of their life. The gym.
I want to talk to you about your kickboxing career, because you were what did you achieve in terms of the level of your work?
I started in Kyokushin karate, which is bare knuckle, full contact. Guys like myself, Sam Greco,
yes,
Peter the Chief Peter Graham. You know, back in the day, Kyokushin was a strong style that bred fighters that, you know, transitioned to kickboxing, because now I'm the president of the Victorian Amateur Martial Arts Association, so it's all about looking after.
What's it called, Kyokushin?
President.
Kyokushin karate.
Kyokushin?
Kyokushin karate is a Japanese style of karate.
Don't bag it, all right, because they'll all come and bash the shit out of us.
They won't.
It's like, what is it? Kyokushin? They all come through the door.
So we started in that, and there was no safety equipment. Like, the karate back then was, I never knew. Bare knuckle, and no shin guards either.
UFC and all that.
Well, there's no head punching.
Sounds like,
that's the only thing.
It was more the karate.
It was chest.
Yeah.
You can knee to the head. Can't punch, but you can.
You can knee to the head, but you can't punch.
That makes sense. That makes sense.
Well, you know,
a knee's a lot softer than your fist. That works, you know.
So it was a tough style, and it bred that. You know, I'm like, well, I busted up my hands, so that split my knuckle. I uppercut someone on the point of the elbow in a tournament, and my hand was cooked. So the doctor goes, you can't really keep doing this. You're going to be arthritic, and you know, your hands aren't going to work when you're older. So I had a break, and then I was working on the door of a nightclub, and the kid, you know, some come up and go, hey, you do that martial arts stuff. I'm like, oh, whatever. And he goes, oh, he give me a flyer for a tournament at Preston Town Hall. And it was Bob Jones who brought freestyle karate and kickboxing and all of that to Australia. Started running tournaments, little tournaments that, you know, within his own organisation. And I'm like, I'll give that a go. So I just went, I rolled up, paid my fee to compete. And I had my gi pants, you know, the karate pants, and they're like, mate, you can't wear that. So they sold me a singlet that, you know, was for competition. And I fought, but my boxing was terrible because my hands were low, and my head was punched from one side of the place to the next. But I got runner-up in the heavyweight division on the day of the tournament, and then Bob Jones come up to me after and he goes, mate, what do you do? Bit of taekwondo or something, you know? And I said, look, I did karate, and now because of my hands, I'm looking for something to do. So he invited me to train with their organisation. And back then, the BJC had nationally 25,000 students. So it was a big martial art organisation. And it was freestyle, so they integrated karate and everything, boxing and kickboxing all together. And that was really the start of it. And then Thai boxing sort of went from there. And that was sort of the transition from going from karate. But I never fought in gloves, and I never had shin guards, which protects your legs when you're training. So we used to train and just get banged up.
Yeah.
So when I was introduced to all this safety equipment, I'm like, oh, this is mad.
Yeah.
This is great. So
you're a champion, right?
Yeah, Australian, the World Kickboxing Association Australian
WBO.
Cruiserweight champion. So that was a opportunity that just dropped, you know, in life. I was going, okay, we've got to do this, get a Victorian title, Australian title, this, that. At the time, my ex was pregnant with our daughter, and I stopped training, and I got a phone call on, I think, the Tuesday. The guy that was fighting in the main event for the title was running. I think it was Pat Costanzo was his name. I still remember, a good fighter. He went for a run, twisted his ankle, he was out.
Oh, shit.
And then they go, you want to take the fight? And I said, I'll stop training, and Mrs. pregnant, this, that, and I'm working security, because I was working security. I was working through the day, through the night, so I had about 3 jobs. And I go, how much are you going to pay? And they go, oh, well, what do you want? And I said, well, I'll get probably a couple of $100 for working security. Just give me that and I'll fight. I'll fight anyway, so I have a crack at Australian title. So it was one of those things where an opportunity presented, and I'm like, I'm not going to overthink this. I'm going to jump in, have a crack. Like the parallels between fighting in the ring and fighting on the street or in security is, in the ring, there's a doctor, there's rule sets, there's all of that.
Sure,
so
no weapons.
When I'm on the front, on the door, it's like any weight, anyone, any rules. So it was like for me,
it's security got Scotch and Coke. That's it.
How many fights did you have in total? Professional fights.
Professional.
Yeah.
Professional. I think I was about 15 odd pro, but amateurs hundreds.
How many fights did you have at the door?
Yeah, 1,000.
1,000?
Yeah, we worked it out actually, because I was asked this.
Oh my God.
And over the years of doing security, it was over 1,000. If we calculated how many times on the weekend I'd get involved.
So more knockouts on the streets than in the ring?
No, you know, I used to do I was really naked choking people before anyone knew what it was. Come here, you fucking up! I used to come from the side. So you got 2 guys fighting, and you see it, so you figure out who's the aggressor, and I'd just come in and sort of straight across and just 3, 2, 1, and put them down.
Yeah?
Yeah, I was because when I worked at the Palace, in St Kilda.
The Palace
Twister,
in St Kilda. Far out Twister, man.
Yeah. So I used to be the sleeper on the door, Twister. So my good friend Alan Latu had SPL security with his uncle, and they just said, look, just stay there. There's a big queue. The queue used to be like 150 people average.
Remind me, where was the Palace again?
Where
now?
the Palais?
What's there
The
now?
Palais, right next door.
Next door to the
Oh,
Palais.
yes.
Mate,
Big
next
steps.
door to the Palais.
Next door.
So
It got knocked down.
It got knocked down, and did they put something else there?
No, I think
It's a car
It's a
park.
car
Where the car
park.
park is, man. Yeah.
Don't you remember the Palace there?
Yeah,
I can't remember it.
I remember going
Joey,
years ago.
Can you
Going
put a
to
picture of the Palace up? If
It's a big joint. It was a big place,
It
right?
was, man, I did so many bands there.
I went to a rave
I nearly
there.
got killed when a speaker stack fell on me. So I was working the system and the down. And
That's it.
Yeah, on there. So those doors,
Shit,
I used to
remember
stand,
that
I used to stand at the
now.
top of the stairs, and the queue used to go all along.
You'll have to
And
put.
when someone
you'll
wouldn't
have
get
to
out
put
of the
this on the
queue,
screen.
they'd go, fucking, come to the door. And I'd come down and go, listen, brother, come over here, we'll have a chat.
The Palace.
Yeah.
Twister.
Oh my God,
I went to a rave there once.
Yeah,
Why did
Monkey.
they get-
They used to have Monkey. They used to have all these different
Why'd they get
nights.
rid of it for, Mark?
Well, it's
I think
it's
they
landscapes.
they were going to redevelop it like everything in St Kilda. Even my nightclub, Area 61, I drove past the other day and it's all flattened.
Where you had a
Where was
nightclub
that?
called Area 61?
Oh, man,
Yeah.
I went to the area.
Where, I
61.
remember going there.
61
Where was
Fitzroy Street.
I went
Yeah,
to the
Fitzroy
area.
Street. Yeah.
Right, yeah.
That's-
So it was in between the Prince and Rabada and all that. It was sort of in the
Rabada.
middle. Near Leo's Spaghetti Bar.
Leo's
There's a
Spaghetti
laneway.
Bar.
There's a
We used to
7-Eleven
go to Leo's
laneway.
Spaghetti Bar,
And then
hey, with the family
Leo's
and our
Spaghetti
cousins
Bar. The
to
best.
get no gelato
Yeah.
and go for a walk.
If we went to Fitzroy Street, we went to Leo's
Leo's
Spaghetti
Spaghetti
I
Bar.
used to have all my meetings there. Meetings.
Meetings.
Let's go, Leo's.
So you were down Fitzroy Street because Fitzroy Street
Yeah.
was pumping back in the
Mate.
90s and 80s and
It was
stuff.
good, man.
The most
It was
eclectic
pumping.
mix of everything. You'd have homeless, mix and all of that, and then you'd have the glamours from, Turak and all that all dressed, and it'd be just
Prince of
Yeah.
Wales.
And now-
But it was a bit of a rough and tumble area.
I used to
though.
go to
Still,
Prince
there
of
was always a
Wales.
bit of that stuff
Remember
going
Prince
on.
of Wales upstairs?
Yeah, but that was more
in early
That's the
2000s.
2000s.
the Saint, the
Um,
George.
The Saint,
The
the George.
Saint, they talk about like Lygon changing. Fitzroy Street is
Changed.
fucking
Look, it was
out of
always because I had the club there when the Gatwick was the halfway house. I was like, someone got killed at the Gatwick last night. You go, oh yeah, it's like those ones because it was that.
Yeah.
It was the drug, the drug addicts and the people out, halfway home. And,
Yeah.
and it was a mess.
But that was there for ages. That halfway house.
Ages.
I mean,
And it
even
was
even
such a
into the
cesspool.
2000s, it was still there.
Yeah, but that, I mean, the
It's not there
ladies that-
anymore.
Yeah, it was the block. Yeah, the block did a
Oh,
redevelopment
did
of
they?
it.
Oh, really?
Oh,
Was
right.
it there? I didn't know.
Yeah,
Well,
the
there you
Gatwick.
go.
So they took
Amazing.
it. It was the two ladies that owned it had all good intentions and used to try and cater for people that had no housing and all the rest of it, and it just degenerated badly and become a nightmare. So I think they shut it down, and then the block bought it, and then they redeveloped it and made all these nice apartments there. So that sort of changed that dynamic because the Gatwick used to have a lot of colourful people. I remember because I had the nightclub, and then I always wanted a Mexican restaurant. So do you remember BB&T? Burgers, burritos, tacos, nachos. It was a
Think I do.
franchise.
Yeah.
I opened one of them
Yeah.
at the front of the nightclub because I thought everyone's leaving.
Yep.
The sort of hot dogs there, do the Mexican stuff. And I was down there one day with my daughter when she was probably 5 or 6 or so. She was very young. And we were sitting outside the Mexican restaurant having a few nachos, what have you. And I remember a couple of shadies walking past and they shake hands. And I was eating with her, and she's like, "Well, Daddy, what are they doing?" And I'm like, "Oh, don't worry." And one of them's done the old, popped a heroin hit out of his mouth because they used to put them in like condoms, whatever. And then they've done the and I'm going, "That's time for us to go, Damme.
Yeah.
Let's go." So
Yeah.
it was like there's drug deals happening. There was, it was everything. Just it was a mix of craziness
Yeah.
that street.
How long would you have the club there for? 61?
2002, 2003 to. I closed it in 2007, and I opened Hammer's Gym 2008. So I had it for a few years.
Yep,
And then Moch Gadinsky bought it for his son Matt Gadinsky, and it was called Pretty Please. And
Yes, that's right,
Pretty
yeah.
Please spent like $700K on fixing it, and they still didn't last as long as me because I did it all myself with my mates. Like we had no money. Like I thought I'm going to do this club. And let's go. And we're like, well, 7 a.m. license, so you could stay open 24 hours a day. So
What's that? If you had to describe the nightclub scene
yeah,
in a sentence, how would you describe it?
crazy. It's like literally insane.
Back
It
in the
was
day.
Back in the day. Well,
Well, it's even the same now, right?
It's
There's not that
there
many.
is no nightclub scene now.
There seems to be almost
Is
gone.
there, is there a
for
nightclub
young
scene
people
now?
anyway.
yeah. Well, you still got revolvers and the 161s and
Yeah,
stuff
but that's
like
for
that.
people who just love
Yeah,
ecstasy.
the clubs like I worked at for Metro or Chasers or the iconic Melbourne, even Hippodrome. Remember Hippodrome? You guys probably
Jesus.
when was
Christ,
that?
that's
The
going
name, the name was
Yeah.
strikes
Yeah.
strikes something, but I don't
Chevron,
remember.
I remember.
Chevron, I remember Chevron.
Dollar Spirits. Thursday.
Yeah.
So Chevron got
Yeah.
done. There's an old wives' tale about the Chevron with that Thursday $1 spirits, right?
Yeah.
It was on a Thursday night.
Was it methylated spirits?
Apparently they were putting methylated spirits in there to
Nice.
dilute it a little bit. That's, I don't know if it was or wasn't.
I worked at a place. It was actually called the Brat Pack Bar, and it was the Jam Factory. If you look down Darling Street, I think it is, you'll see they've bricked up where the door used to be. So it was an American sports bar, like full American. This is Budweiser's, and it was uni night, like $5 all you can drink. It's crazy.
What?
And so they sent me down there on the Thursday because a guy I know was working there, and it was 2 levels, and it was crazy. It was out of hand, but at the second level there was a window, and there was a fight, and he got pushed through the window, and his ass was hanging out of the window, and his head was hitting the window jam. Those windows you pull up.
Oh,
Yeah.
no,
Two-sectional
right,
ones.
okay, yeah.
So he went through the bottom, and they were punching and kicking him trying to push him
Out of the window?
out. Yeah, so they send me there the next week. They go, oh, fucking old mate nearly got killed thrown. And I'm like, oh, here we go. But that was mayhem. That was, uni night. You said, cheap beer, drink as much as you want.
Yeah.
And I had basketball, and NFL and all that on the screens. It was full American themed.
Full of testosterone, full of people gambling,
it was
whatever.
Crazy.
And what's the craziest? Can you tell us? What's the craziest scenario being a security guard that you got involved in?
Well, I did that. There's a book that I put out called Bouncer, Real Life
I was
Stories.
going to make mention to it. One of the first times I ever met you, I went to your office at Hammers, and when I was up there with you, and we were chatting.
Yeah.
And you said, oh, there was the book was on.
Yeah.
And I was like, what's that? You go, do you have a book? Yeah, I wrote a book called The Bouncer.
Yeah.
And is that full of all your stories?
So I used to work because we worked in publishing, going back in the day. I was a general manager of a publishing company for 20 odd years. So I used to go to work on the Monday, and I'd say, oh, what happened on the weekend? This and that, and then someone goes, I should put it in a book because these stories are crazy. From the footy players, getting locked up to this, to that. There was always a story on a Monday that everyone liked to listen to. So I ended up driving around with one of those little recorders and just said, I'd just record little stories, and it was transcribed into a book. We put the book out, and at the time, because I was doing Blitz magazine, we had dealings with Van Damme. So Van Damme was going to make a movie from this book, and it was on a current affair. I'm not embellishing the story. It was legit. So a current affair said, Melbourne bouncer is going to be made into a Hollywood story, a blah blah blah. I was wrapped. I was thinking this is going to be like Bloodsport. I'm going to be that guy,
Yeah.
So we were talking to Van Damme's manager, trainer at the time, Ben Boyce. They liked the idea. We were going backwards and forwards how it was going to work, and then he went a little bit sideways back in the day, and all these stories come up of domestic violence with his wife, and she was locked in the bathroom, blah blah blah. So everything just got.
So they were going to make a movie on it.
They were making them there. We were in negotiations to turn the Bouncer
Let's do it again, man. I'll play you. It's a bit of a height difference.
You're probably the right height, to be fair. Van Damme's not that tall, yeah?
Didn't he just do a Bouncer movie recently?
I don't, I heard of something.
What do you mean? You got to look into that, man.
I stole your story, bro.
You might have stolen bits of the story.
It would never be the same if I didn't help him with the stories.
So that was. If our movie does well, we should make this movie.
Yeah, what, mate? I'd love to get to a space where we made different types.
That'd
of
be a sick movie,
like
man.
There is a movie called The Bouncer from 2018.
From who?
That's it.
Van Damme?
Jean-Claude Van Damme, yeah.
Oh, for fuck's sake, man. They fucking stole your idea,
I'm
man.
coming for that little prick when I see him.
Did you not know that? Did you know that?
I heard something, and I'm like, no, I don't know what they're doing, but yeah.
Well,
I heard something. But you know what?
What's
I will find it because I've got it on DVD. The interview from A Current Affair. They did a whole segment on it. So they wired me up. I was working at Cheers Bar, Casey's in Hawthorn. Remember the Toss the Boss night there?
Oh, yeah.
So that was a union night too. It's Toss the Boss.
Toss the Boss.
The best ever night. But they used to run those nights at this club in Hawthorn. So at the time, they interviewed me, and someone said at Current Affair, be careful because they throw the questions at you a little bit, and that it can go either way.
Yeah.
And I'm like, I've gone into the interview. Let's go. And I had Michael Chevalet with me back then who helped write the book. And I'm like, these guys, they better not take anything out of context because, it can be edited and cut. And I'm sitting there and I recognise one of the film guys. And I go, hey. And he goes, oh, how are you going? I go, hey, don't fuck me with this here. Or else I know I'm coming straight at you. No, it's going to be all right. It's going to be all right. So the story actually ended up coming out all right. And they mic'd me up, the hidden cameras in the nightclub. And they basically filmed me through the night and throwing the guy out. There was a fight on the dance floor.
So you'd hear,
it was like, and I'm like, you're right.
You fucking cunt.
There's a bit of this one.
Around the corner, yeah.
So that all sort of went to air. So when I find it, I want to show you guys. It was classic, man. That was not, when it was.
We're coming for you.
You know when it was 1999? Because when we wrote the book, in the preface, it was because security guys. That was when the shooting happened at Damme. Remember?
Yeah.
So I knew Nick and a couple of boys that got shot there. It was a whole thing. It happened at the same time as we were bringing a book out, and I felt a bit weird because I didn't want to. At a time when guys are getting shot, I didn't want to appear to bring this book out and try and capitalise on it. But the book was well in the works before.
Yeah.
So it sort of came out, but. Bouncers were getting a bit of a bad rep. Get a real job. At the time, I was a general manager of a company, and guys would come, these little kids come, get a real job. I'm like, yeah, I'll try. So it was a real paradox of reality versus what I was doing at the time and all of that. And the preface of the book was 1999, clicking over to the year 2000. In the biggest party of our time, all the bouncers walk off the job at 10 to 12. What do you think's going to happen? If all the security guys in all the venues go,
See you later.
See you later.
What do you think's going to happen? And that was basically what was spoken about on A Current Affair. I said, what do you think? What do you think's going to happen? You think guys aren't going to have their beers grabbed off them? You think women aren't going to get groped? You think it's not going to become a free-for-all if there's no authority overseeing venues where a lot of alcohol and everything else is? So that was where that at that time, and then Chopper Reed brought out all his books. Remember Chopper's books?
Yeah.
So we were sort of placed in that same marketplace, and I wrote the book specifically, short stories, so you could take it to the dunny and read a story every time you're on the dunny. Because you couldn't scroll on your phone back then.
What would one of them say? It was like, this guy came up here and I was like, he said something to me. I fucking put him in the choke.
No, it was like...
What's one of the good stories?
One of the good stories was, working at billboards on a Monday night. It was like an industry night. I was on the door 1 hour.
Billboards.
A few guys come up.
Still there.
I think it's still running. Yeah.
It was open, it closed, got renamed, and then now it's reopened again, back as billboards. But it used to be when there was a guy called Athos used to own it. And upstairs there was like a pizza restaurant, and you go down the nightclub and all of that. So I was working the door 1 hour, which is just on my own. And these guys come up, let me, can't help you. And they're like, what do you mean? And I'm like, well, whatever the criteria was. And then they left, and I thought, and then I seen them got their car to the car park, drove past, and literally the window went down, and one of these came out.
You're joking?
I was like, I'm thinking, I'm getting it here. And it was just an intimidation thing,
he just went like that.
They put the gun out the window. They didn't, because
did you poo yourself?
Would have been back then. It
was there a little piss that came out?
So yeah,
was there piss?
No, it was a little bit.
It's a little fart.
I'm like, I gotta get a pay rise. No, it was because it was no one.
Come
there.
in, you can come in. No worries, come in now.
They just did it to show.
Yeah, just,
what I mean? Just to show
we
could finish it if we wanted to. It was one of those.
Well,
and I'm
man,
like,
there's
no footwork, but
you told me once about a story about some guy wielding a bat out the front area.
Yeah. So that was my club, my nightclub. Worked so hard to get this place going, and it was just a brutal business. Let me put it that way. Especially when you're dealing, there was a lot of, because of me being me, I suppose. A lot of industry people will go, don't work for him, it's fucking this, is that. And they banned a lot of promoters, and like the Stafford brothers and Timmy Trumpet. I know them, I've known them for years. But they were working for someone at the time, and they were told they couldn't play for me at my club. And they're like, we love you, brother, but we can't do it because of the industry and the labels and this and that. So there's a real hierarchical thing, and if you're coming in as a newbie into that industry, you're going to... Back then, it was like, who's this guy? We're going to kill him. But even now, I still, have dabble in a few music events, and it's still the same. The music industry, it's a closed business. Everyone knows everyone, and if you were an outsider trying to come in, it's really tough.
Yeah.
So when I had that, going back to that, running it, I still remember opening night. As you guys know, you have an opening night. Everyone comes. It's free drinks. It's great. And then the next week or two, I went from full house to nobody. And I'll be honest with you. I was sitting in the office, literally in tears, going, I've done all my money here. All the people that would, brother, they're gone. They moved on,
Yeah.
So that the novelty wasn't there. People came, got their freebies, left, and I was like, I'm done here. So I had to come up with different marketing ideas every week. I used to buy the bottom a section of Beat magazine. Remember Beat?
Yeah.
And every week change it. Did it like a post-it note. Big weekend, hungover, can't be stuffed writing an ad. Come this Saturday, and made it look like I just stuck a post-it note on the front of the magazine.
Yeah.
So I did all these different things. And then we had finally, after doing all these different incentives, that started to kick a bit. And I had a queue for the first time, down the road. I'm like, we're back. We're back, baby.
Yeah.
And I'm like, I'm sitting there going, how good's this? Look at the cameras. It's a queue. This is the good vibe. And then one of my security guys, one of the older boys, comes in. He goes, "Oh, bro, we got a problem." I what's that? He goes, "There's a guy out on the street with a baseball bat." I'm like, "What do you mean?" And he goes, "It's just this random dude got rejected from somewhere, going back to Fitzroy Street, bring the crazyville." So I've gone there and I've gone, "Hey, what's going on, man? Relax." And he's swinging, literally just swinging at people. And the people in the queue are pressed up against the shop fronts and doing these, half are leaving, half are, it was a mess. So I've got, relax. And he's going to take a swing. And I know it's like you throw a punch. You slip the punch and then you counter, whatever. Yeah. With a bat, it's like, as it goes, there's always a downswing and then they've got to bring it back. Yeah, so if you know how to attack someone, it's, even with knives, it's how they hold the knife. If they hold it this way, they can only stab you up. If they hold it this way, they can stab you down. If they hold it like that, they can slice and stab. Then they know how to use a knife. So there's different things that I'll evaluate.
That's how I use it. Hold like that.
When I eat my steak,
This one here. So
Steak.
but anyway, so he's taking the swing. I choked him out, took the bat, and I'm sitting there with old mate, and I'm looking at the bat, and I'm like, there's an aluminium baseball bat, and I'm like, it's got Hammer written down. So the brand was, I'm like, and then as I'm holding him, the security guys come. I go, hey, have a look at the bat. Grab it from the office. So it was one of those moments that you just go, fuck, you couldn't script it, man. I swear to God, you couldn't script it.
You still got the bat?
Yeah, I still got it.
So where did the name Hammer come from? From the kickboxing?
Yeah, so when I was working security, I started fighting, having bouts and saying to the boys, I'm fighting, come down, this, that. And one of the guys, his name's Jared. Jared Liston. He's a primary school teacher now, but he used to work with me on the doors. Big fella. He goes, "What's your fight name?" I'm like, "What do you mean?" Martello. And then he goes, "Yeah, you got to have a fight name." And I'm like, I don't know, man. That's the least of my worries at this point. I'm just want to get in and not get killed when I fight. So he goes, "Well, got to come up with a name." And he was the one that actually said the Hammer. He goes, "We'll call you the Hammer because there was a few things happening back in the day. The things I was going all right in certain areas, and
what the fuck does that mean, man?
You're a carpenter at the time, and you had a great hammer. What the
Carpenter?
He built some good houses.
there was a few. It was a name that encompassed a few different areas of different things that were happening back then.
Yeah, because
So
maybe it had something to do with your manhood. A bit that I got a hammer.
Mark the fucking hammer.
Tang a hammer.
But it was there was a few things that was going on, and plus when you get in a fight and this that. So it's sort of he was the one that come up with it. He goes the hammer. We'll call you that, and then it just sort of stuck.
It stuck,
and it sort of become a bit of a moniker that was.
It's been a blessing because it's the whole identity, the whole brand is based around that. Let me ask you something, man. Like, I saw footage of you kicking through. We're talking about baseball.
Fucking hell! I was just gonna mention it. Is it on YouTube? That's what
I was going to say. We've got to put this clip up.
Tree.
You could just talk us through. You used to kick through single bats, sometimes double.
Hang on a sec.
Tape them together.
Like Mark Hammer baseball bat. Put in.
There's a few. Because I used to do it regular. So and then we did.
Here we go.
Did two. Did one on ice, one on fire. We used to do all.
Yeah, have a look here.
Look at this guy. That's two bats.
So we had to make that. You see that thing? We had to do it so it holds them in place. Because if they're not held properly, it's harder to break. So that
the shoulders on you, Hammer.
Steel rig was made to hold the bats and.
I'm scared just watching this shit, man. Look at that. I'm intimidated right now. Look at that.
There we go. 1, 2, 3.
It's it. Hey! Van Damme. Stick that up your ass, Van Damme.
Give me a nice one.
Yeah, send that to Van Damme and say, I want my fucking royalties for
your
the...
ass.
That's one low, one high. So we started to do find tricks to do with them, you know.
Was this at the Isabella Reception Centre, was it?
It was actually Carolika.
My brother's eating like every biscuit known to man.
There's biscuits everywhere.
That doesn't look like a good idea to spray a bat into the crowd like that. But
Yeah, no, a couple of people.
It was the 80s.
What health and safety? None here.
A splinter goes into someone like, ah! Oh!
Oh, you went that way. Oh, wow. Wow.
So how did you, like, do you have to get calcified
Yeah, look,
shins?
it was something that goes back to the traditional karate days where they.
Oh, there's another one. What's this? What's this? Sorry,
This
before
is
you go
wood.
on.
This is easy one. That was the start of it.
Oh,
They
you
were
punched
just-
him?
they were
That's
just
it, man.
balls.
You knocked that
That guy
guy
fell
out.
down, man.
You hurt that guy, man.
That board's 6 inches thick, man. How's you kicking through that?
That was ice at the end, so a slab of ice.
Through
with an
your
axe kick,
heel.
yeah.
Oh, wow.
So
So how do you
I did
prepare
that.
for
We
that?
did one. You know those big bats you used to get from the baseball bats you used to get from the show, the inflatable ones.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So I had the idea. I'm like, we'll get one of them and we'll freeze it. So we
Put
filled
water in
it
it.
up with water and
They were
froze it.
they were
Yeah, they were
enormous,
thick,
those
yeah,
things,
yeah.
man.
So I did one of them, and then I'll go fire and ice. I wanted to do a fire and ice concept. So we got a baseball bat and set it on fire, and then we had that as the ice.
That's smart.
So-
'cause
so
the
did they-
fire would melt the
Not
ice.
the ice.
Hammer.
Yeah, go.
Were they hiring you to come and do these things at parties and stuff? Like, were they?
No, we used to. I traditionally used to do it at my end of year gym party. So
Right.
all the students were there, and they're like, "Oh, this guy," and I'm like, "Oh, I'm getting old, but not that old." So, behave.
So,
You had to stop.
it's funny you mentioned about baseball bat. We got a few baseball bats here.
I went to a party once, and it was, there was a few people there, and they had a baseball bat behind the door, and
Yeah.
I'm like, "What do you do with that?" I'm like, "No, okay, give me the bat." And I was a bit pissed. I won't lie. I've got hold the
Party
bat, and I'm just like,
Yeah,
I broke the bat at this party, and I'm like, "Fucking baseball bats," and so I was sort of got a bit cocky with it in the end. But before I did the first one though, I literally had nightmares about it because it's a mental thing, because you don't know, and it's like, oh man. Then some of the guys, there's a steel rod in the middle of those things. I'm like, nah, it's fucking not, is it? I'm like, so I actually went and bought one and snapped it to make sure there's not anything in the middle, and then they were the ones that I would I'd break. So.
Yeah.
With the bats, you're kicking. You don't kick at the bat, and this is when I teach now. When you kick or punch, there's acceleration and deceleration. So when you kick, you got to kick through. Don't kick at something. So if you're going to end your punch here, the maximum force will be somewhere here. So you want to always hit through.
yeah.
You know what I mean?
Sure,
So
yeah.
If I aim to hit there, the maximum, I'm de-accelerating and
yeah.
starting to retract. So that was sort of the thing with, looking at, look at me, it's the most physics I've ever done in my life. I'm Northcote Tech, no physics.
They did teach you something. Yeah.
So I sort of figured out kick through stuff, hit through stuff. So there were certain things with braking that you got to be aware of with all of that stuff. Even like breaking wood, if you have the grain going the wrong way, you're not going to break it.
Right.
So the grain, you know what I mean?
Yeah,
the grain's got to
gotcha,
be a
yeah,
certain way when you're breaking something.
Yeah.
So everything has a bit of technique and a bit of science to it, and a bit of
Does it hurt?
But in my head, before I did the break, I'm going to be in front of all these people at this function, and if I don't break this bat, it's going to be highly embarrassing. So
Does
Does it hurt?
Did it hurt or afterwards?
yeah, look, you do conditioning, so kicking a heavy bag
So you
repeatedly.
kick it.
Yeah. Well, I fractured that ice bat fractured my left foot. So,
You fractured it.
yeah. So that my foot's still wrecked from the ice.
Have you guys ever seen I think it's Britain's Got Talent or something like that? Was it this Sri Lankan guy?
Oh, the guy where they hit him
Have
with
you seen it?
Yeah, that's
I've
himself
seen a
out.
few of them, yeah.
Can you please find it? It's
very.
weird.
That's his arm.
He's like, "Hey!"
and this.
he smacks himself and he falls backwards.
Yeah, that's gone wrong many a time. If you
Nah, you got to see this one. This is hilarious. I think it's
It's actually a bit horrific, man. Not as in he clean knocks himself out.
I've seen that.
He
I've seen
clean
that.
knocks
Yeah,
himself out. I couldn't
the
believe it.
funniest thing is when how he's yelling. He's
Yeah,
going,
he's yelling like he's completely in control. You know what I mean?
Until he's
Look
not.
at this. Look at this.
Sri Lanka's got talent.
He's also
Oh,
doing,
it is Sri Lanka's got
Sri
talent.
Lanka's
doing
talent.
splits like that. I mean, it's impressive.
But
The
do they
splits
really have talent?
That's-
they're roof tiles, man. Look, they're double. Boom.
Oh, it's broke on his hand.
Hey, double roof tiles.
Okay, that's hard.
Oh.
That's hard.
Son.
I mean,
It depends how much sand is in those tiles, though.
Well, these
Watch this,
ones,
watch this, watch this.
they gave him fucking concrete ones now. Boom, out.
out. See you later.
But
See
who
you
would have
later.
thought that's a good idea? Like, it's like...
And he's out. Like he's out.
Well, I think he actually, he's out.
He's out, man.
He's out.
Cue the
Oh,
Rocky
he's
music.
I mean, he's out.
Well, he's
No,
still
don't
going.
touch me.
Still trying.
I'm good. Okay.
No, don't do it,
Oh
bro.
no, his neck's gone and
Bro.
everything. He's
No, he's finishing the act, man.
trying so hard. I feel sorry for him now. Oh no, he's going.
Oh, he went again.
Yeah, he's still
But
doing
his
it.
neck's all crooked. Was it like that before?
Nah.
Why is his neck crooked now?
My nose used to be crooked until there's a fight on one of the fights I had from Festival Hall. I used to put my sunnies on and I used to sit like this. And I had this, I fought at Festival Hall. First round was a horror. And old mates, boom, hooked it. And now
Straightened it up.
Thank you very much for
Oh,
the
no.
nose surgery.
He straightened it up.
He straightened it. I swear to God, I'm like, this is not, I've got to have an operation when I stop fighting. Because
And he
my
put it
nose
back
is-
into place?
And he broke, closed both my eyes up, snapped it back straight. But again, when you don't know, you don't know. So I had the fight. It was a mess, nose broken. And then I went to sleep and lied, you shouldn't lie down.
Oh, really? Because there's blood
The
and
blood
stuff.
gets behind your eyes. So
shit.
I woke up the next morning and I swear I thought I was blind. I'm like, oh, there it is.
Oh,
That was it. I was like, and then I did panic and I think something's gone wrong here. And it was just, there was so much blood behind my eyes from the break.
Takes a while.
Hey, Mark, listen, there's a lot of different associations, different styles, different.
Yeah.
If you were to fight today,
Yeah.
who would you like to fight, and what style would you like? Where would you like to fight? If you could leave, you could do your time again.
Such a good question. Look, I think, to be honest with you, as fighting goes, I'm not, there's great fighters out there that always I give respect to. I wasn't a great fighter in my, if I'll be honest with you. I was just tough. My skill level was probably, I have better skills now that I've started to teach in the last, not so much now, but say the last 10 years or more. When I become an instructor and trainer, it forces you to develop your skill because you've got 20, 30 people in front of you and you've got to show them a round kick. You can't screw it up. But when I was fighting, I'd just fight, obviously working on my skill all the time, but I wasn't the most naturally talented fighter. So I won a lot of fights just because of my resilience.
And durability,
right?
right?
And like we talk about the bouncing thing, I used to use that because I'd go, you know what, I was fighting on every weekend anyway, one way or the other, as I was working security and doing all that. So, and you couldn't pick who you're fighting, where you're fighting, what rules. It was just like someone's coming up and they're going to try and king hit you, or there's going to be 2, 3. There's so many times I just used to, get jumped. And my thing was, if I get jumped, grab someone, because if there's 4 of you, if I'm there, you're kicking me. But if I grab you and just hold you here, your mates are going to have to pick their shots a little bit more carefully. They're going to crack you. So I'd often use, in a multiple attack, I'd often use one of those people as a shield. And that would give me time to either get
No, stop it. Stop hitting
or
him.
every time I'd get
You're
hit,
hitting me, you idiot.
every time I'd get hit, I'd have that person there and I'd just bite a little bit of them or thumb them in the eye. So if I was getting hit, if I was getting hurt, whoever I'm hold's getting hurt with me. So it was like the mentality of my mentality back then was a little bit different. So fighting in the ring was like, oh yeah, doctor rules. It was different, yeah. But you'd still have the nerves. I still remember doing weigh-ins and thinking, fuck, man, in 24 hours this will all be over. But you're putting yourself in that position because I wanted to fight someone that was of equal skill, and the challenge was to try and level up in an environment where everyone was able to match it with you. Going back to your question about these days, man, I'll be respectful to everyone. some of the guys these days are way better than what we were. There's more science. There's more, they have better training.
Yeah.
We
better
were just
supplements and
everything.
better steroids,
more
better
science,
everything.
more science-based.
yeah. Well, then, like back in the day, you're cutting weight. I remember I did a weight cut, and I got some. I fought for a Victorian amateur boxing title, and I had to make 80 kilos, and it was tough. Yeah, they took this fight off. So I had nothing in me. I had no fluid. I was taking. One of my friends, her mum was taking fluid tablets for heart condition. I'm like, give me some of that. I'd get all the fluid out of me. I was taking the fluid tablet, which is a frusemide.
Frusemide, man. My mum's on that stuff.
So I was taking that.
Give me some of that.
I was
Shit's
depleted.
fucking strong, man.
I was depleted, and I still was overweight. So I
Oh,
rang one of my boxing coaches. I'm like, oh, man, I'm overweight. How much? I'm about half a kilo. He goes, get some bubble gum, start spitting. And I'm like, oh, fuck. What? So, yeah. So when you got nothing, you generate saliva. I was working corporate, yeah.
That's a bucket full of saliva.
And I was doing these ones to
Oh, you're joking, man.
make weight. And I had to weigh in on the day of the fight. And the fight was at the exhibition buildings. So I was like,
you couldn't
I worked
rehydrate.
all day. I spat in a bucket, mate, went there on the scales, made weight, and then I had like 1 or 2 hours to rehydrate. So had some rice, a bit of watermelon, this, that. But, you can get the fluid into you, but your muscles are depleted. There's no power. And I remember I've come out, I'm like, all right. And old mate, I actually come up to me when I was commentating a few months back. This guy was a guy I fought. And I remember he was nuggety, like he was thick, short and thick, and I was tall and skinny. And I remember right-handing him, boom, and he's just gone, and it just kept coming. I'm like, oh, fuck now.
Oh, shit.
That whole fight, I was hitting him, so I was landing the shots, but it wasn't affecting him because there's no juice, there's no power.
Yeah.
And, I was commentating at the pavilion a few weeks back, and I go, hey, mate. And he goes, oh, yeah, okay. He goes, I fought you. And I'm like, oh, did you? We have a rematch? He goes, yeah. He goes, VABL title, blah, blah, blah. I go, okay, that was you. Okay, you're lucky I was fucking, didn't I? So we had a laugh about it. But, some of these guys I fought, we bump into, and it's like, it's funny, the nostalgia around that. But, as I said, there was the science and the training methods, and it was the Wild West. Now it's very, everyone's very... Even with my fighters, I'll make sure that they're not cutting too much. The training, the rest periods, the recovery. Back then, ice baths. What was it? The only ice bath we knew was Eskies.
Yeah,
that you put your
Eskies.
drinks in.
Yeah.
There was none of that. So the science and the training and the methods are much more advanced now. And as a result, the fighters are a lot more. I was working 3 jobs and fighting.
Sure.
There's
Now they're
guys that do,
professionals and
they
stuff,
train and they do PTs to support themselves. It's a different time. Yeah. So I wouldn't even put a lot of my era fighters in with guys like Jai Opataya. Oh. Man, absolute legend. I know him and Taps, his dad, Tappy.
Jai Opataya is an absolute fighting machine.
Yeah. Yep.
You know what I love about Jai as well? I actually really want to meet the guy, to be honest.
Yeah.
He's so good.
He's a lovely guy.
Yeah.
Lovely guy.
He's like old school. He studies like proper, like he studies the greats, and he doesn't care so much about the accolades. He just wants the accolades in that world. Like he doesn't want all the
Ring magazine and all that.
He wants to be known as one of the greats. You can really see him. And
but his dad
wrecking ball.
Tappy was involved back in the day in a little bit of the martial art, kickboxing scene too. And, he's now back training him. He trains Jai. Yeah. So it's a very family thing. But, we spoke about politics in the nightclub game and the music industry. There's politics in the fight game too.
Wow, yeah.
So, and that's, he doesn't, in my opinion, he doesn't get his due accolade.
No way. No way. Even when we spoke to, our friend Cambosis.
Yeah.
Cambosis, when he went over to fight the world title, prior to that fight, it didn't get the coverage it should have gotten, because that was an amazing thing to achieve. After, there was a flood of like, but prior, it's like, and what Jai's doing now, like he's probably the best cruiserweight, right?
Yep, by far.
Best cruiserweight, and he's
Yep.
of ours, and it really doesn't get plastered. Same with Volk, even when we like Volk.
Yeah, Volk, I love
Very
Volk.
Like,
first time
now
Volk.
Volk gets he's a
now
legend
he's-
of a
now
bloke,
he's
right?
You know what with Volk, because I've been in, Joe Lopez, his trainer and all that, going back to my days in the martial arts publishing world and all of that. I've got friendships and relationships with all of the trainers and the fighters. They remember me from the early Fox Sports days. You guys got to remember, I've been doing this for many years, so 30 years on TV.
Yeah.
And I commentate more fights than anyone in this country because I'm commentating pretty much every weekend.
Every week you come
So, you build these networks. But with Volk, I still remember, man. I still remember he was kicking ass in the UFC. And I was doing commentating Urban Fight Night in Sydney. I think it was at Luna Park. And Joe Lopez has come out with a young fighter. And I look and I'm like, as I'm commentating, I look, and there's Volk carrying the bucket and the towel just in the background, and I'm like, look at this guy. Yeah, this is what everything should be about in the martial arts now. He's from an era where we had loyalty, and your gyms, your family, and that's it. You stick through thick and thin. Now, there's a post that a girl put up from she's in Thailand training. She's like, screw loyalty. It's the whole thing about you don't have to be loyal to your gym or your trainer. You should go where you want, this, that. And there's the real contrast of what I was brought up on and how I see the traditionalism and give to your teammates. And that's what Volk's about. He's been at that gym with Joe Lopez through thick and thin. He's probably had all sorts of offers to do all sorts of things. Could have gone anywhere. He's trained with Mark Zuckerberg, he could do anything, but he's still there with Lopez.
It's a winning. Plus, it's a winning formula as well, and they get along great. And he's a good lad.
But
it's the accolade from the accolade side of things. It's like you got to for some reason in Australia, you really got to get to the top, and then even when you're there, like Volk gets it now. Cambosis got it at the time, not before. It's not this push before. It's only when you've gotten there. I don't know what it is about the fight game in Australia. Like
it's because of fight. My dream is to do a fight event at the Bowl. I think if I could do
Sydney
a fight
Myer
event,
Music Bowl.
Sydney Myer Music Bowl,
Yeah.
it'd be great.
Yeah.
And even if it was a charity thing or whatever, I've sort of let the cat out of the bag now, and then others will probably try. But I've attempted
Van
it.
Damme's going to do it instead. He's going to take that. He's going to take that idea.
Van Damme will do that too. So, but they go, no, fight sports, we can't do it at that venue.
Oh, right.
When I was back in the day, trying to get sponsorship for events, you talk to Coca-Cola or whoever. A lot of brands won't be associated with blood sport. They go, blood sports, we don't want that.
Yeah.
So there's always going to be that. And UFC, there's still a lot of people that don't like it. A lot of corporates that don't like
barbaric.
So no disrespect to anyone who's currently in the fight game or has been past, present, future. Are you saying that that the best fighters don't necessarily get to the best places?
Look, in business, there's networking. Yeah.
Yep.
Why do people have networking dinners? Why do they have networking events? To create relationships, to then potentially create opportunities.
Yes.
So if you're part of a camp that aren't good networkers and don't play well with others, well, you're going to be ostracized because of that. So you need to be able to have a trainer or a camp that can reach out and potentially talk to the UFC matchmaker or talk to a matchmaker in some boxing circles, have a relationship with sanctioning bodies, and I get it because I've always been a bit of I step back and I want to be measured by what I do, not by what I have, sort of things. So if you're not in the right lane and you're not creating a plan the right way, you're going to go nowhere. And Thailand is
part of the old. That's just part of There's the fighting, and then there's the business, and then there's the marketing. It's just like any business, right?
It's a business,
So,
like any other,
but
either
like
fighting business.
Yeah.
and you've got to have that resilience to keep going. If you guys would have done 1 or 2 videos and then stopped, the videos used to do in the car and all that, where are you going to be? I didn't work, 20 likes, forget it's not working.
Yeah.
How many people have given up and not realised their potential? So with fighting, it is,
But the
You know,
thing
look at
is-
Terence Bud Crawford. He had losses, but
Yeah.
look at him now. He's greatest, one of the greatest
Yeah.
boxers.
But even
he's only-
Terence, like his, this is like marketability wasn't as marketable as someone, and he was like one of the best fighters ever, right? He's
Correct.
Is that the guy that's coming here recently?
Yeah, he's
He's
coming.
It was at my gym. Yeah, yeah.
But you gotta-
He'd come last
You have
year.
to have something to market. It's like not just if you're a great fighter, that's not even enough anymore, right? Like you have to be able to be good on the mic or have a
Yeah.
bit of a feud with someone and then build.
But that comes in time. And I was talking to Simon Carson, who's got Absolute MMA. So he's got, you know, like Khan Offley and all that. We all work together, sort of thing. But Absolute gym in Melbourne is very well known for a lot of MMA fighters. And you know, talking to him the other day, and he goes, some of these kids get a bit of ahead of themselves. They have one amateur fight, and then they get on the microphone and start calling people out.
Yeah.
Fuck these, man. It's
What's,
like, bro, just stop. You know,
yeah.
you're not there yet to
Yeah.
do that. Shut up and get the results.
Is that because
before-
they know?
Or they're trying to get ahead of.
Because
Social
they know,
media.
like,
It's
I
social
want to be,
media,
I want to
man.
be the guy who's known to call out people good on the mic, and I want to be the guy who's like, you know, a bit zesty and then
Yeah.
gets the eyeballs. So they
Yes.
know that. They know that. So they probably try it from the start. you
But
know?
it's the Conor McGregor, the Conor
I-
McGregor sort of effect.
Ever since him,
You know, like everyone's walking around doing the walk, and
everyone's in
and
suits
this
now,
and that.
like a-
Yeah, absolutely. This kid, you know.
Muhammad Ali started all that, didn't he?
Muhammad Ali was the original
was
shit
the
talker,
original.
But it was a classy way of doing it,
and he
used-
was also hated.
yeah.
When
That's true.
Yeah.
That's true. There was a lot of
Everyone used to hate him, man.
Backlash.
McGregor went
because
down the John McEnroe angle.
yeah.
Who's that?
the villain.
John McEnroe, McGregor.
McGregor.
Yeah,
Just
the villain,
McGregor went.
angry.
There's always been, going back to the age, one of the best, you know, Australian rivalries, Danny Green Mundine. you
Yeah.
know, and I was involved with doing the doco with Greenie, and Mundine is a good friend too. You know, it's marketing. You got to have something to market to get the eyeballs on the pay-per-views. It's all about dollars with regards to the networks. Yeah.
Jeff Fennick and
Zuma Nelson.
Zuma Nelson.
Zuma Nelson.
Yeah,
So
you
yeah.
got man, biggest robbing.
So
they
it does come back to that. But what we're seeing now, because of social media, is first of all, everyone's an expert, you know, putting up tips on how to punch and kick and all the rest of it. It's like, man, what have you done? Number one. And number two, the people that don't know will believe a lot of stuff that they say, oh, he's the best. That's one of the reasons why the kickboxing and the Muay Thai doesn't get the exposure as well. And in to some respects, boxing, because there's too many sanctioning bodies. And I still remember ringing the Herald Sun saying, oh, we're going to do this, we've got this show. Yeah, and they're like, listen, the guy goes to me, listen, mate, we don't understand your sport. Everyone's the world champion. You know, you got a guy from Springvale fighting a guy from Clayton for a world title. So in order to try and sell tickets or create hype, fighters want titles. So they're like, oh, give me a title. And I'm a promoter still now, promoting obviously the Warriors Way shows and stuff. And you know, kids want titles. They don't care what it is. They just want to have that belt, you know, to do these ones, you know. So the promoters, you sort of in some ways strong-armed to do it because you've got to sell tickets, you know, events. You know, I've spent $80,000 on an event, worked on it for 6 weeks and made $1,000 at the end of the day. So everyone thinks, oh, you're making heaps, but there's a lot of expenses. So you're under this pressure to make things pay. So then what do? You go, all right, I'll give this kid a title. If it wasn't a title, if you were fighting and it's a normal fight and you had 10 fights, how many of your friends are going to come and watch? Catch you the next one. So your marketing angle is gone. But if, Carlo, I'm going to give you a title, brother, tell your friends, I'm fighting for a title, guys, you've got to come. They're not going to say...
Buy a table.
Buy a table, buy a ticket, buy something.
Mate,
yeah.
sometimes you go to those the ones at the pavilion. We
yeah.
go there, and there's someone will come out, and you'll hear that they've got like 4 tables, and it's like
That's right.
they're a popular kid. Or he's got a lot of backing, so that's how it all.
That's
sort
right. And it sort of comes. I remember, you know, back in the day working with boxers, it was like, you know, you were trying to get a boxer on a show on a local level show, and they'll go, how many tables are going to sell? So probably not. You know, not many. Oh no. So you have to be. It's a double-edged sword. You've got to market yourself to get your friends and family and all of that to come and watch you. How do you do that? You've got to have an angle. It's got to be an authentic angle. So you've got, you know, there's all of these variables that come into it. Because if you can't sell a ticket, why is a promoter going to put you on the show?
Yeah.
So there's that. The best ticket sellers are the kids that go from amateur to pro, or they're having their first fight.
Yeah.
Because that's when everyone's going, he's having his first fight, let's go. Hence the corporate fighting.
Yeah.
So now it's like, I'll train for 8 weeks, I'll get in, I'll have a corporate fight, all my friends will come. It's an experience, it's a bucket list thing. Tick, done it, yeah? So, and you guys will train. You could fight, you could have a corporate fight, you could have a corporate fight, you could have a wrestling fight. So
Who do you reckon would be a brawl? Who do you reckon would be the champion out of us?
He's got size and weight, and he's got the
But I've got the
dense
I've got the
muscle
sheer
and
talent.
you've got the skill. So you've all got combined. You'd make a great fight.
We'll fight in 3 then. We'll just like a sushi man. We'll be a trio.
one round each.
Like
We'll be a trio.
one of those like on each other's shoulders, like, you know.
But so. But I want to ask you this question, because you train the boxing. Why?
Why?
Why do you do it?
Why do I do it? I've first of all, I've loved combat sports. I've loved boxing since I was a kid. Rocky, grew up on it. So there's that whole thing. I actually love the sport, but for me, it's my therapy. It's literally my therapy. I've got. I don't want to talk to a therapist. I'm not bagging anyone who does, but I don't want to talk to a therapist. I just want to release through punches.
Yeah.
That's it. I find it's a release. I love when you put the punches together. It makes me feel good. Hitting the pad, the sound of the pad, it's a release for me. And after it, I just feel a lot more relaxed and calm. I feel it's my therapy.
I think I trained Dave Reynolds, who's a supercar, races in the supercars. He's married to Tahan and all of that. They've got a bit of profile in their respective worlds, and they're successful in what they do. But I started training Dave Reynolds when he was, I think, driving for Ford, because they wanted him to have, he was fit as hell, like triathlete fit. And I remember him coming to my old gym and training him, and we did a few rounds, and he's running off, being sick, like dry reaching. So it's a different type of fitness. But the reason that I love training him is because he's such a nice bloke. He's one of the nicest human beings you will meet, Dave Reynolds. I swear to God, beautiful person. But I used to say to him, bro, you're in a car race with 20 or 25 other drivers, and they're bumping each other. It's an aggressive sport. Car racing is very competitive. It's high stakes.
Yep.
And you have to have a little bit of that in you, yeah? So my thing wasn't only to challenge him on a different level of fitness, but it was also to bring out a little bit of that.
The mongrel.
Yeah, a little bit of that. I'll say another word, but
politically,
I'm trying to the kids watching. So I wanted to bring that out. And I remember there was one driver that he had a bit of beef with. And I remember putting that guy's racing suit on and a mask when I was holding pads. And I hit it, he was fucking smacking away, to bring out, like, it's a competition, bro. I'm like, racing is your livelihood, yeah? Like, it's big. You're living someone's dream, number one, being racing cars for a living. Number two, it's like, this is where it begins and ends for you. You can lose a race and go, oh, well, or you can lose a race and go, fuck, that's my income stream is getting cut if I keep not performing. That's the contract's got to get renewed. So I'm like, it's not just the race. And I do this mentality with my fighters. It's like, your opponent and your competitors are there to take everything from you. They're not your friends. I'm not, fighters, when I was fighting someone, I've got enough friends, bro. I'm not interviewing for friends. We're punching on, And with motor racing, it was like, those guys that are driving against you, they want to see you in a kitty litter. They want to see you off the track.
Yeah.
They want the checkered flag, and they'll take away your livelihood to get it.
Yeah.
So you have to, it's good. It's nice to be nice, but when it comes to competition, people are there to win, and when there's big money involved, you've just got to go for it. And he won Bathurst in I think 2017. When we did some training, and he won Bathurst. Obviously, it's a whole different ball game. But I was so proud and happy for him. Such a nice bloke that finally got his what he deserved, which was a great result. And a couple of kids, and life is what it is, and we're still in contact. We probably don't do the training like we used to, obviously, but that whole thing was getting someone that was essentially professional, nice, but bringing out a bit of that.
Yeah.
Come on, let's go. When you got to go, you got to go. And we talk about the home invasions and all of that, and everyone's like, redemption for these kids. I'm like, you can say it's hard to put them in jail and all of that. Like I've seen on TV, they're like, oh, it's not right, this, that. I go, would they say that if one of those kids broke into their home and hurt one of their family? Then they're like, lock them up. But when it's happening to someone else, it's like you've got to be... Political correctness is, you can't say this, you can't do that. Until it happens to someone, then they're like, now it's got to be dealt with.
Yeah.
You know, so and that's the sport, whether it's sport, life or whatever, I think you have to have two sides, one really driven and compassionate and caring, but you've got to have the ability to be a fighter when it's time to fight.
Yep.
And be a father when it's time to be a father, or a friend when it's time to be a friend.
Yeah,
you have to have that.
There is one thing I really want to ask before we wrap this up.
Yes.
Why aren't you as angry as you should be that Van Damme made that movie?
Hey, this is my alibi. I was all right.
like we've just discovered Van Damme stole your story and made a movie.
I reckon.
It's different. I think it's a different story to what
it's called The Bodyguard. The same
called
thing
The
as his
Bouncer.
book. The Bouncer, same as his book.
Yeah, I know, but the premise is different.
I'll be talking to my lawyers and Mullet. Someone's getting sued.
I reckon we have to. We have to suss
Thank
it
you. As a good Italian person, he came. We don't want to show
the brand.
Some canotto.
Canotto.
Oh man, one thing I want to
drinks.
do, mention just very quickly.
Go past the house.
Very quickly, because you can't hear yourself there. Very quickly. What I do want to mention is that what I love about you, Mark, is that you had possibly the greatest mullet.
We saw it in the video. It was unbelievable.
Hey, I can still do this, huh?
It was, it was light and feathery and
fluffy.
It was beautiful, and it was manufactured in the 80s,
90s even.
What was the secret
early 90s.
to a good? What was the secret to a great 80s wog mullet?
Well, it didn't work because it's gone. It fell out. He wasn't taking that
race
good
from the
care
front
of
to
it.
the back with the hair going.
But anyway, go answer the question. Sorry.
What was the secret?
What was the secret?
Look, I think I modelled it because when I would do security, people used to give me the look a bit like Stallone.
Shit!
So they
You
go.
do a little
so
bit,
was
man.
the Rambo mullet?
Yeah.
The remember
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, fuck, man. You did have a Rambo mullet, but it was blonde a bit. It was a bit blonde.
Yeah, it was, the blonde tips were put in there.
You
because
put
it
the
was
tips?
thing. My friends were hairdressers. They're like, do the tips. I'm like, do what you must. Do what you must. If it helps me to be more attractive, I'll do whatever.
We'll put a photo up for people
mullet.
of the mullet. I'll get you the photo, and there's just a brilliant. I just wanted to make.
Thank you. I know
was
you guys are fans of the mullet.
It wasn't
I'd love
pretty.
to grow a mullet, man.
Have you got a wig that you could put on at some point in time?
You know what?
Bring
I
it
went
back,
to it, and I
'cause-
think it was an 80s party, and I got one of those mullet, but it was the spiky one with the thing.
Yeah, but
my head
there's a
sweated a lot.
there's a difference to the mullets. There's an Aussie mullet and there's a wog mullet.
Correct.
Yeah, there
The,
is.
the Aussie mullet's a little bit more spiky and dead straight at the back. The wog mullet's very feathery.
It's the Guido
And
Hutchins
it's
with a look.
got little waves to it.
flows.
Like there's different levels
I
to
never
this
did
mullet
quite
game.
get to the point of putting a little ponytail. There was a talking about us sitting here and how surreal this year's been for me. 2026, by the way.
Yes.
Seagal calling me about training his son. Warri Kappa writing a song about my gym. And now the Sushi Mango podcast. My life is complete. I'm telling you, my life is complete with those three things. So surreal. And like, man, 2026, who would have thought that those things would happen to me? It's crazy.
Very excited, very excited. I do want to say, before we finish up, I really want to commend you on the message you put out, the hard work and the generosity you put into everything you do. I really think you're a top-notch, true blue, fucking straight down the line, stand-up guy, man, and keep doing what you're doing and spreading the message of love.
Thank you for the years of friendship and for just giving me the time to have a chat about stuff. And we, the one thing is when we get together, we always have a laugh.
We do have a laugh. That's what I loved about you since when I met you, man. Is that it?
There's a little bit of the mullet.
No, there's one you sent me personally.
That was the fight where I had my nose fixed too.
That one
He fixed my nose. There's a bit of blood everywhere on those ones. So
Mullet's a little bit of thing.
You can't. It's not a really good shot. That one there. That one there, you're already starting to bald a little bit at the front. It's starting to get feet at the
Yes,
front.
I
That
did.
one.
it caught us all in the
It's
end.
catching us all.
I'm trying to think because there it is. This is bang.
Hey,
That
that's
was
a
the belt, the mullet.
that's
it was
a-
all
yeah.
right.
You see how that's a wog mullet? That's not an Aussie mullet.
It's like it's almost a perm
It's
at the
got
front.
a bit of a. You know?
That's a bit of a
Don't
bit
do
of a
that to me.
perm thing at the front.
Where was
See, this is another one you sent me,
That
Mark.
was in Thailand. I fought one of the fights in
That's
Thailand.
another one you said. It's a side angle.
Yeah,
of
that
it.
was
That's-
early Fox Sports mullet.
That's pre-tips. There's no tips in that.
No, there
one.
would have been tips. There's just maybe I let them fade out. Maybe they grew out.
Brilliant mullet, but that there. I
That's-
think I'm going to make a T-shirt for you of that.
And no, that should be the cover of the Van Damme fucking.
You do look like
like that.
You do look like menacing as a fighter. I
You
must
do look
say.
frightening, very intimidating. It's
So
not even a joke.
you guys had a Muay Thai World Cup.
Yeah, that was. I was German, so to get talking about, he was talking about selling tickets.
What?
Oh, what do you mean?
Maybe
You're
German, Mark,
German.
I remember on the back of the truck in Thailand waving a German flag, people talking German to me. I had no idea what they're saying. I'm like,
How do you say hammer?
That's what they do, man, in Thailand.
Mark the
tonight. Yeah.
How do you say hammer in German?
Heimer.
Do you understand?
Mark Heimer.
In Thailand, right? There's this bus that drives around the streets. All the
Yeah, that's
fighters
it.
on top of the bus, and then they go Thai kickboxing,
Yeah.
Oh, that thing. Yeah, I've heard it. I don't know.
fighting tonight.
Tonight,
So were you on top of the
Yeah,
bus?
but you want to go one better, it was my voice. So because I was doing broadcasting, I went to Thailand and they go, can you do it? Tonight, Chawang Stadium, real
Oh,
Thai
so it was-
boxing. They used my voice. And I had friends that were on the beach in Koh Samui and they'd ring me and go, I fucking just heard your fucking... I'm lying on the beach and there's some bloke on the boat driving past with tonight, Thai boxing,
I
Chawang
love
Stadium.
how they just have here the names John
John,
versus Jingrit, Mark versus
Nom,
Nong.
yeah. But all those internationals, they're pretty much all Aussies.
No
I took a tour
no
over.
surname.
Are they all Aussies?
They're all Aussies.
No surname, man.
No
Mark
surname.
versus Nong.
I thought all these nationalities were made up.
Well, I think there's one
single guy was
Canadian.
Aussie.
Is there a Canadian on there? I think it's
Sweden.
So the Swedish kid was one of my students. He just had blonde
Russian.
hair.
I say,
he was Swedish.
Why did they make you the German?
Because he looked like a German.
Because you had the tips in at the time. That's
I
why.
had
don't
the
know.
funniest experience of my life
Show
was
that.
when I went to a Thai kickboxing fight in where was I? I think it was in Ptou.
But yeah, Ptou, yeah.
Man, and we sat down, they sat us ringside.
Yeah. You got
like
this one of
right
those
up to-
couches there.
This couch right up against the ring.
Yeah.
They got us. They asked us if we wanted to, because we were the only two white guys, or there might have been a couple of white guys there. We went and presented the fucking belt to the guy.
Yeah.
I went to the toilet, and I went for a piss. All of a sudden, I feel these hands
Massage. You
on
get
my
a massage.
hand in the back of my neck.
Yes. They massage you when
whilst-
you're having a
whilst-
wee.
I was pissing.
Whilst you were pissing, some guy.
I was like, no, hey, I thought I was getting robbed.
I missed that though. I missed that.
spraying everywhere.
I'll tell you a funny story about that just quickly because I know we're going over. I fought on that card, yeah, so it was a bit of a big deal. First round, they changed opponents on me, so they give me another opponent, and I had reasonable hands, and he was a bit smaller than me, the guy that they replaced me with. They brought him from Bangkok, and I dropped him with a jab. Well, first round, I'm like, got it, because you box them, you don't kick a kicker because these guys are all heavy kicks. So I dropped him with a jab, and then he started kicking high, and he kept kicking at my head, I thought, and I was blocking it with my arm. Broke my arm in the first round, and I went back to the corner, and I've never had a broken anything really, fracture, but not. And I'm like, fuck, my hand's hurting a bit, and the corner guy's a friend of mine that's in Thailand, and he's like, no problem. He was German, that's why he made me German. And he goes, hammer, no problem. It's just bruising, and I'm like, fuck, doesn't feel like bruising. And then I couldn't hold my hand up anymore, so I was pretty much fighting with one hand. Went through and then people started to boo because I thought I was fucking being cocky, not fighting properly. Anyway, after the fight, my hand had swelled up that much. I had to cut the glove off because my arm was
couldn't get
broken.
it out.
It was broken on the wrist here.
Shit.
So to hospital, they chucked me in the back of a ute, no ID, no money, and took me to like a hospital in the middle of nowhere. And first I went for X-ray somewhere, and there was an Aussie there, and he goes, seeing your fight. It was awesome. I go, thanks. They go, what are you doing here? Because the show was still going. He goes, my wife was so excited when you won that she got up and cheered and fell down the stairs.
No.
So I'm in one.
Oh, you're
she's in the
joking.
other. Then they moved me to another public hospital, which was shocking.
Yeah.
No ID, and no one could speak English. The only English word they knew was operation. And back then, you remember the old, wives tale, you go to Thailand, they're going to take your kidneys or something.
Yeah.
And they're like, operation. And I'm like, no one's operating on me. I'm telling you right now. I'm like, no, I'm trying to stay awake, passing out from loss of blood. And I remember going, like, I was on the bed, and the cup was next to me. There was a green plastic cup that they put a bit of water in. And I was sort of passing out. I was in pain. And I woke up, probably I had just like a little nap, and I woke up and I'm going to have a drink of water. I'm like, the cup looks different. I thought it was like green. And as I've gone to grab it, I've sort of knocked it. And as I've knocked it, because it was like a brown colour, ants have just gone everywhere. So the ants were all going into the water. So that was the state of this. That was the state of the hospital that I was taken to. And I was like, they're saying operation. There's ants everywhere. There was a dog in the ward walking around.
A dog walking around.
It was like a part open air sort of hospital.
Oh, that
back
means
then.
that the street dogs were walking in?
Yeah, so it was you got to think it was 1999. It was all around the time that Van Damme ripped off my bounceable. So all of that was at the same time. And then I stayed there all night. And then all the boys, because I won, they all went celebrating. So the guy that was promoting it said, that's all, Hammer's all right, he'll come after. You guys go to the after party or the bar. So they're all trolleyed. And then in the morning, they're like, fuck, where's Hammer? And one of the boys hired a motorbike and went looking for me. And I've never been happier to see someone in my life.
Far out.
And one of my boys rolled up and he goes, oh, we found you, because no one knew where I was. There was no phones.
Oh,
I had no ID. And they just took me to this public hospital in the middle of the bush.
Oh my!
So it was like, I've got on the back. I'm like, get the fuck out of here! Jumped on the back of his scooter and went back to the camp.
And what was the state of your hand? Did you ever,
Yeah, just they put it in
plaster,
like a those bandages they wet
put
and
a
they
bit of
go,
sticker tape around it? Yeah, you'll be all right. Get out.
So they went-
the old plaster, right?
yeah, it's like
They
a
plaster it
plaster.
up?
They just put in that. I went and then we went back to Bangkok, and they redid it. Because going on the plane, you swell up. So they're like, we'll do it a bit looser so you can get home. But by the time I got home, it's like I just left it. So now I've got a big lump here. Where it was.
There you go.
So that was all part of that
Did you ever do
very
the
unique
kumite?
experience. Sorry?
Did you ever do the kumite?
It was the underground fight in South Melbourne Town Hall. So that was that one. That was
Frank
a
Dukes.
non-sanctioned.
Oh, for real?
Yeah.
You had underground fight.
Yeah, it was just I went to do a seminar. I worked the night before. We were going to do a seminar at South Melbourne Town Hall. I didn't know I was fighting. Got there. It was supposed to be a seminar with Dave Hedgecock, on skills and drills. They lined us up and they go, you downstairs.
That's wrong bet.
So we went downstairs and I got that was like one of the first.
How much money did you get?
No, zero. I worked security the night before, so I made a couple of hundred, but no. Yeah, it's nothing. It was just a fight. Just go downstairs and fight.
Yeah?
Yeah.
Crazy.
So there's footage of that and an image of that floating around. I finally found it because everything gets packed. And back then it was VHSs and used to have photos developed. To go to the chemist and get it developed and So, but yeah, that was an unsanctioned fight one back then amongst everything else. Thank you.
Listen, thanks again for everything.
Thank you.
And we must try and find out who stole your idea and gave it to Van Damme.
You know what? Thank you for letting me know.
I don't know why you're not upset about it.
This is me upset.
How are you so,
This is
how
me
are you so
upset.
calm about
Inside when I get home. When I get home.
to the lawyer.
Nah, but thanks, man. Thanks for
Thank
coming
you,
on.
boys. Thank you.
Yeah, man, it's been a pleasure being your friend. And we wanted to get you on because you're just a fucking legend of a bloke. So
I appreciate you
for coming
guys.
on, man.
And Cavallo, thank you. I'm going to go and walk around this.
Yeah,
have a look at the cars, man.
Man,
Nice
it's
cars.
like I could spend the
And yet-
afternoon
You
here
want,
quite easily.
you're too tall to fit in half of the
Yeah.
prestige ones, but yeah.
All right, guys. Thanks.
Thank you
That's
very much.
everyone.
No
Thank
worries.
you.
That was another episode every Monday. You know where we are. All right, ciao.
Ciao.
All right, so we're sitting here recording the Sushi Mango podcast turbocharged by Cavallo Prestige.
And the service department is literally 10 metres away.
It's just over there.
It's so close. If I lean back too far, I'm going to be in a hoist.
That's right. I get my car serviced, by the way.
Because it's done properly.
Manufacturer level quality keeps your warranty safe and your resale value strong.
And you don't get slapped with prestige tax on the invoice as well.
Google Cavallo Service Department and book it in.